Hi, and welcome to Ivy English. I'm Karen.
And I am Chris Gorski.
Today is September 22nd. Today we're going to hear part one of a two-part article about a very, very common object that we rely on so much. We sometimes take it for granted and kind of forget about how much it enhances our lives.
That's right. We are talking about kind of the history and variety of eyeglasses. And it's one of those things that I should wear, but I don't wear. I just don't have, you've never seen me wear glasses, right?
No.
I need glasses when I drive. I'm technically fine without them. A little bit of distance I won't see.
Yeah.
Right? But I don't know. I just don't want to wear glasses because I get fingerprints on them.
Yeah.
And it makes me crazy.
And it's a pain with a mask because they get steamed up.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
I would wear my sunglasses, and I just gave up on that because when you're wearing a mask, it's just constantly fogging up and you can't see anything.
Right. So it is kind of a conflict, so I try to wear either one or the other, but not both at the same time. I think what I think of is how I got my first pair of glasses, because I was born with very, very bad vision. I had very serious nearsightedness plus astigmatism, and it wasn't diagnosed in my first 2 years of school. So whenever there was something on the board we were expected to copy, I was really embarrassed, and I would have to go right up to the board with my nose almost on the board and copy it. And the teacher would just give me this disapproving look. And
Really?
I thought, man, this isn't my fault, but geez, I'm really sorry, but I can't see the board. And this went on. And I did not have a nice first grade teacher. She was just mean. And like nothing ever fixed it, nothing ever changed, until finally my mother said to my dad, her eyes have a problem. Take her to a doctor. And she kept bugging my dad. And I don't know why he didn't, because, he's a very careful, loving parent, or was. But finally said, okay. And then it was discovered the extent of my eye problems. And then I put those glasses on for the first time. I thought, oh my gosh.
Really?
The world looks like this.
So you remember putting on your glasses and...
Everything came sharply into focus.
Wow.
I had no idea that the world has such sharp lines. Everything was kind of fuzzy. It was amazing. So thinking back on that, think about how lucky we are that humans figured out how to enable us to see better. I mean, it's a very big thing. We rely on our eyes for everything.
We really do, especially as kind of like our senses are dull compared to other creatures. That eyes are kind of the primary way we kind of understand our world, I think.
Yeah, but I would have to say ears are really important too.
Yeah, all of those senses are there, but I feel like, if you don't have your eyes, things become a little bit more difficult to...
Extremely. I think you often will hear people saying, well, if you had to give up one sense, what would it be? Eyes
would probably be the last.
The last. No, I want to keep my eyes. That's right. So having eyes is great, but sometimes they don't function well. Eyeglasses can help you see better. That's a big deal, and it has a really interesting history. So here we go. Our title is Let's See Through Eyeglasses. For anyone that has problems with their vision, eyeglasses are a lifesaver. They can be worn if you are nearsighted, are farsighted, or have any other issues. They are even a fashion choice for some. But how did we come to depend on them so much? Let's take a look at the history of glasses.
Before anyone was wearing lenses, the Romans used spheres of glass filled with water to magnify text. Primitive glassmaking had been around since 2500 BCE, but the Romans were the first to discover that glass could be used for magnification. However, after the collapse of the Roman Empire, the manufacturing of glass declined. The next step forward for eyeglasses did not occur until roughly 1,000 years later.
Refined glasswork finally picked back up in the late Middle Ages, especially in Italy, and glass was again used as a visual aid. It was around this time that framed eyeglasses came into existence. The oldest known pair dates back to the 13th century. The frames would have been made of wood or leather and would have had to be held up or balanced on the nose.
One of the first attempts to create hands-free glasses was done by attaching glasses to a strand of ribbon passed over one's head, which was then secured by the weight of a hat. However, this didn't last because eyeglasses with earpieces were finally invented by a British optician in the 18th century. As a result, glasses could be comfortably and easily worn.
Additional advancements afterwards include the development of bifocals, purportedly by U.S. inventor Benjamin Franklin, and the creation of scissor spectacles, which could be folded up and placed into a pocket. Today, eyeglass frames can be found in nearly any color and in a myriad of styles, for a lot of money, usually. Okay, back to our title, Let's See Through Eyeglasses. To see the world through a certain lens, that means you see it in a certain way with a certain perspective relating to your own life experience. But now we're just talking about looking at the world through eyeglasses as a kind of clever title for talking about the history of eyeglasses. Our first paragraph, for anyone that has problems with their vision, eyeglasses are a lifesaver. So if you have really poor vision, but not so poor that you're already blind, then glasses can't really help you. Then having glasses can really, really change your life for the better. They are a lifesaver. They don't literally save you from dying, but they give you a much, much better quality of life. They can be worn if you are nearsighted, are farsighted, or have any other issues. They are even a fashion choice for some. So what reasons are there for wearing glasses? I think the most common one is being nearsighted. People say that because Taiwanese students study too long, and now because everybody's in front of the computer too long, that it often really hurts our eyes and we end up nearsighted because of these issues. There's still some different opinions about that, whether it's really true, I don't know. But in any case, a lot of people are born nearsighted or become nearsighted later in life. Some are farsighted. That means you can see things in the distance very clearly, but close things are blurry. So nearsighted is the other way around. You have to hold it really close to see it clearly. Things in the distance, varying levels of distance, are blurry. Or other issues, and I mentioned an issue just a little bit earlier, and that is astigmatism. Astigmatism is where lines appear kind of double and then not straight. So astigmatism is another really common problem. It's often because of irregularities of your cornea. That's the covering of your eye. There are even a fashion choice for some, and I have seen people wear frames without lenses just because they think it makes them look smarter.
They just wear the glasses with... It's just the frame,
just
no glass at all, right?
Yeah.
Some people can do that, but you got to be real cool. You'll never see me do that. I can't.
You won't even wear the ones you're supposed to wear.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you are really elegant and confident, you can pull it off. To pull it off, that means to do something successfully. So you can walk around looking elegant and cool with just glasses with no lenses in them, okay? You know, you're probably good at presenting yourself and probably kind of attractive. So some people wear them just because they think they look nice with their outfit. But how did we come to depend on them so much? So now everybody, practically with an eye problem, will get glasses for them or maybe contact lenses. Now we often get surgery as well, LASIK surgery. So how did we end up depending so much on glasses, though? Even if you can do all these things, you probably still need glasses. I got LASIK surgery years ago. It really helped. So most of the time, I don't need to wear glasses.
That's funny. I was thinking about getting it, and then the doctor said, your eyesight's not bad enough.
Right.
But it's annoying that I can't, like when I drive, I have to wear glasses. And because I almost never wear glasses because I don't drive in Taiwan, when I have to wear them, it's such a change that it's distracting.
I understand all that, but having had some experience with LASIK surgery and the people who do it, they say that, and also reading articles about it, they say that the goal of LASIK surgery is not to get rid of glasses. It's just to lower your dependence on glasses. So you see me wearing glasses now. I'm using reading glasses because I'm reading, and so I use them when I read. I use them when I drive, though I can drive fairly okay with it during the day, but probably not at night. So my dependence on glasses was greatly reduced by LASIK surgery. So that's, in any case, even if you improve your vision through surgery, you probably will still need glasses sometimes. So many, many, many of us really depend on glasses. And the last sentence of the paragraph, let's take a look at the history of glasses.
Hey, there we go. Take a look.
Yeah, so this is, I kind of missed that. But this is just preparing us for what's to come. Like, we're going to have a little encapsulated history of glasses.
And our next paragraph begins, before anyone was wearing lenses, the Romans used spheres of glass filled with water to magnify text. And you probably already understand this because that technology is built into most cell phones where you have that rounded fish eye lens, as it's called, where you the edges of your camera will be a little bit round. And that's basically how the Romans used it. They used that water-filled bowl to say, oh, look, this makes things bigger. And they would use that for studying and actually for tool making.
Mm-hmm. To magnify, that means to make it look bigger, to make it bigger. And the noun is magnification. And the tool we usually use for that is called a magnifying glass.
And our next sentence continues, primitive glassmaking had been around since 2500 BCE. But the Romans were the first to discover that glass could be used for magnification.
Now, it seems that glass originated somewhere like in Central Asia, or it could have been in Rome. It goes back a very long time because the Chinese word for glass has got 2 syllables, and a lot of those 2-syllable words are foreign imports. It came in from Central Asia, maybe eventually from Rome.
Now, primitive has that root of P-R-I-M. When you see that, it means simple. It's often used in math, but basically it all boils down to simple.
Or basic.
Basic. And our next sentence continues, however, after the collapse of the Roman Empire, the manufacturing of glass declined.
So that means the Roman Empire slowly fell apart. It was really not one big thing, but they were becoming less and less careful of the system that they wanted to uphold, and they were getting wasteful. And so eventually the Roman Empire just collapsed. And when that collapsed, then a lot of other things collapsed as well, because they had very high levels of a lot of things, besides literature and history and all these other things, a lot of objects and, aqueducts. They were just really great at all kinds of engineering feats. But when they collapsed, then in this case, the manufacturing of glass also declined. That means it wasn't being maintained like it was before.
Now, we should mention that right now that this is not yet glasses in the sense that we think of it. They used magnifying spheres filled with water to kind of grow things in size so you could see clearly. But these weren't like personal things that you wore. However, there were people in the world that had already begun putting things on their face to aid in their vision. And that goes all the way back to North America with the Inuit people, I-N-U-I-T. Sometimes you'll hear them as Eskimos. Now, they didn't use glass. Instead, what they did is they would take like bone or shell, wood, or even grass if they needed something really quickly, and they would use it to reduce snow blindness. They would just cut a single slit on this material they would put on their face because if you've ever been into a really snowy place on a sunny day, you will know it hurts your eyes, which is something you don't necessarily experience in Taiwan. So it makes sense to me that the Inuit were really kind of sensitive and thinking about putting something on your face and reducing your vision for the sake of being able to see more clearly.
So one thing it does, like you mentioned, is to reduce the glare because with the sun reflecting off all that snow, it's really hard on your eyes. But even if you don't have a lot of white snow, if you just, for example, you put your 2 fingers together close to your eye and you look at that little space between them, you will find that things look very sharp and clear. Because doing that, you have that little slit. It enables your eyes to see things more clearly. So it worked in 2 ways.
All right, and our final sentence in this paragraph. The next step forward for eyeglasses did not occur until roughly 1,000 years later.
So that's what they mean by decline. That means people weren't really keeping it up, weren't really doing this kind of thing anymore. They weren't manufacturing these glasses that could magnify. So it took a very long time for things to kind of start up again. Next paragraph, refined glasswork finally picked back up in the late Middle Ages, especially in Italy, and glass was again used as a visual aid.
Of course, this late Middle Ages is called the Renaissance, when science was kind of back on the upswing. After the fall of Rome, studying and science and exploring the world was kind of, it wasn't encouraged, and it took a long time for Europe to kind of come out of that period, and this coincided with the refinement and improvement of glass.
It was around this time that framed eyeglasses came into existence. So instead of just having a lens, well, they'll explain in the next sentence what was going on. You had actually something that would hold the lens in front of your eyes, and that was a big innovation. The oldest known pair dates back to the 13th century. So how far back does it go to? It's back in the 1200s. That's the 13th century. The frames would have been made of wood or leather and would have had to be held up or balanced on the nose. And that just describes how you are going to keep these things on your face. So you have the frames balanced somehow on your nose with the lenses inside.
Now, we say would have been made because those don't actually exist. We know about the existence of these types of frames because of the paintings that are left over. So when we had kind of come out of this period called the Middle Ages, it used to be called the Dark Ages, and entered into the Renaissance, people wanted to show off their wealth and their intelligence and their learning and their library and their books. And one of the signs that you could afford to do this was owning books in the first place, but then you also needed to be able to read them. And so people would have their portraits painted with their glasses very prominently displayed so that you could see this person could afford books and a library, and I even got glasses to read.
And looking very distinguished and scholarly and wealthy.
That's right.
Okay, next paragraph.
One of the first attempts to create hands-free glasses was done by attaching glasses to a strand of ribbon passed over one's head, which was then secured by the weight of a hat.
Now that's kind of fun to imagine. You've just got this ribbon over your head, holding your glasses in front of your eyes, and then you put on a hat so that the ribbon doesn't just slip off.
Aren't there just a few inventions in the world where it's so obvious that it just feels, how did this ever not exist?
It's obvious in retrospect.
It's exactly right. It's unfair to judge people because things need to be invented, but it's like the wheel is so obvious. And then like the little arm bars on your glasses, like how did that never exist? Why were people putting them on their nose or using a string to balance? It's just so bizarre to think this did not exist.
Things like this make me think of all of the obvious things that we don't have now that we could actually have and fix. One of them is being nice to other people. That's pretty obvious. You know, not having guns in America. There's a lot of things that are really
obvious things to take care of
that are not being done now. So I can't be too picky about people in the past.
I agree. It's unfair to them. But I just think, like, how in the world does someone not invent this? But here we are.
Yeah, and we have this kind of cute expression in English, which is...
In hindsight is 20/20.
Yeah, 20/20 vision means you have perfect vision. And when you're looking back, you say, well, of course they should have done that. But it was totally different at the time, and we have to remember that.
And our next sentence, however, this didn't last because eyeglasses with earpieces were finally invented by a British optician in the 18th century.
And that's pretty straightforward. Earpieces just means there's a part of the whole device that rests on your ear and that holds it in place better.
As a result, glasses could be comfortably and easily worn.
Another word to pay attention to is optician. Optician is a person who fits glasses. If there's somebody who examines your eyes for possible problems, that's an ophthalmologist, but someone who just finds the right kind of glasses for you is called an optician.
And of course, we could see that Latin root there with the OP, right? You could keep going with that, but just like Karen said, you have optician, you have optician, all have that OP.
Right. Okay, our last paragraph. Additional advancements afterwards include the development of bifocals, purportedly by U.S. inventor Benjamin Franklin, and the creation of scissor spectacles, which could be folded up and placed into a pocket. Now, that's the one that struck me. Now, bifocals, of course, that's an amazing thing because especially when you get older, starting at age 40, you're going to start having vision problems. And why? It's because the lens of your eye becomes less pliable, less flexible, and it's harder to refocus when you're looking at something close and then at a medium distance or a far distance. Your lens is no longer flexible. And because of that, after age 40, most people will need to get reading glasses. There's a special word for this condition, this becoming less flexible of the lens, and it's called presbyopia. I won't spell it. You can look it up if you're interested in. You call it old flower in Chinese, an old flower. You can probably figure it out. So bifocals were an amazing invention. So you could see far things through the top of the glasses, and then you could read with the bottom part of the glasses. And I had bifocals when I was in grade school. And I'm not sure exactly why. I think they were trying to correct some kind of a cross-eyed condition or something. But people said, you're not an old lady. Why are you wearing bifocals? So I got bugged about that. But that was a solution to a specific eye problem I had. So it's not just for older people. So bifocals are a pretty amazing invention. But the one that really struck me was the Scissor Spectacles. Because imagine having to carry around glasses and you couldn't fold them.
So I suppose this is in the middle. The Scissor Spectacles is the bridge is they're folded.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would take them out like they were like you. I always think of like the Tycoon era. I always think of like the Gilded Age where they would open that metal case and they would it looked like a monocle. A monocle is just one glasses. You put it over
lens,
your eye and you would open them up like that. That's right. And then you place them on their nose. For some reason, long after the earpieces for your glasses were invented, people insisted on just placing them on the bridge of their nose. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that choice was.
When I saw it, I was thinking of the two bows, B-O-W, the two bows of the glasses folding in. If you didn't have that, that would be really inconvenient. But what you say makes a lot more sense. Okay, our last sentence. Today, eyeglass frames can be found in nearly any color and in a myriad of styles. That's kind of a throwaway sentence. That's something we all know.
Myriad is a good word. Myriad just means a wide variety. If you're looking for a little bit of a nicer, fancier word, myriad is a great word to add to your vocabulary. Don't miss that one.
It's a big number of something. We don't know how many, but it's a lot.
So, Karen, I have a question for you. As we've established, you wear glasses. I am supposed to wear glasses, but I don't. And one of the reasons is I don't like my glasses, and I am also too cheap to purchase new glasses. I really am. I just hate the idea of spending money on them. And part of that is glasses are ridiculously expensive in the United States.
Yeah.
And because I don't drive in Taiwan, I have no reason to go to a glasses store in Taiwan. So I need to ask you, are glasses aggressively expensive here like they are back home in the U.S.?
You have a huge choice. Shop around.
Really?
You can get less expensive ones, but still good ones.
So, of course, as you may have known, there is an incredibly powerful monopoly on glasses. There are about 2 companies that own most of the market across the world.
The frames.
The frames, that's right.
Yeah, that's right. And actually, other manufacturers that make similar things, they're the exact same thing, but with less advertising.
Yeah, it's really disappointing.
It's a racket.
It absolutely is, because there's a lot of people that need glasses that are often dissuaded by those prices. I was definitely one of them as a young person. However, there was a professor, and his name was Josh Silver, and he created these $20 glasses that used water and some plastic film to create kind of pump glasses that his goal was to give people in the poorest parts of the world self-correcting glasses.
Oh,
they could adjust it and adjust as they get older. They could keep adjusting them.
Oh my gosh.
They're not the most beautiful glasses.
That makes total sense.
But what a fabulous, wonderful invention. Some people have criticized it. They're not as good as regular glasses, but they're $20 and they're meant to be able to go to anybody in the world in need of glasses. And I deem that a very, very admirable goal indeed.
I totally agree. What's the name again?
This is Josh Silver, and he has these self-adjusting glasses. He needs a better name for them.
You might want to look into that. That sounds like an amazing idea. Okay, that's it for today. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.